Hello YouTubers. Today I am going to talk and show you a little bit about steam blocking your crocheted or knitted garments, blankets, afghans, whatever you have made. So I have 4 swatches here. This is all made with Red Heart, Super Saver Red Heart 4-ply worsted acrylic yarn. And this here is single crocheted, and it is like I did 10 chains, so it is a 9 stitches across by 8 rows. They're all identical, and this one here is the original, and this one measures about roughly 2.5 to about 2.5 inches. So this is the original. Let me set this aside and let me talk about blocking the garments now. This is the original. Alright, you will steam block and see how it wants to curl up. If you have a bigger project, you know, it's going to start curling up and stuff. So the way to do that, let me move the other 2 squares out of the way so we don't accidentally steam them when we don't need it to be. So what you want to do is take your iron on steam and just lightly, you don't want to press it down, and I'll tell you what happens when you press it down onto it and steam it. You just want to come like an inch above it and just steam it. I don't know if you can, and you will see I didn't pin it. It's advisable to pin it, but this is so small, I just want to show you. Just keep applying steam. Ugh. My daughter used the iron last on a project, and all the stuff coming out now. But you don't want to move it, because if you move it, you will stretch it out. But as you see, it is laid flat. It makes the acrylic really soft and, as you see, pliable. If you move it now, you will stretch it out of shape. So let me just move this aside, though. And let me get another one here. And I will show you now that there, see how it laid down nice and flat, and it's very, very soft, but yet still plush for the acrylic. Now, all of them is the same, so let me go ahead and do another steam, because you want to make sure that it, you know, flat. You don't want any curled edges. So let's get that all flat. And this was, all the squares I told you was 2.5 inches. And look, all this stuff here on. So you want to stretch. You could stretch it out a little bit. And you want to kind of do it in all directions to where it's, you know, going to be a perfect square or whatever shape you're going for. So you want to stretch it. And then you want to, this case I'm going to pin it down so I can get a good shape and steam it without steaming my fingers. And that's the last thing you want to do, is steam the old fingers. You steam your fingers, then you won't be able to do very many craft projects anymore until your fingers heal. So let's see what we stretched this out to. We stretched it out to about 2 3/4. So we stretched it just 1/4 inch. So let's go ahead and steam this again. This is a good way to clean the iron out too, because you get residue water if you have hard water and you put in it. But I kind of like using bottled water or filtered water in my iron. But I guess my daughter, when she ironed her work clothes did not use filtered water. So we just want to leave that to cool. Let's see, all these little pieces of dried up, filtered, unfiltered, I should say, water and gunk that gets in the iron. So let's go ahead and gently remove the pins. Very carefully. Let me stretch just a little bit more, because while it's still like this, you can stretch it just a little bit more to make sure it is your square shape. And let's set that aside. Let's put that one over there. That's the original. This is a stretched. This is the original. This is just steamed, and this is stretched. Now, let me clear this off a little bit, ladies. Sorry for this mess, so you can see it better. And this is our fourth square, and I'm going to show you what's going to happen if you put your iron directly onto your acrylic work. So here it goes, ladies, and it's still on steam, so it's going to steam as it, and you just want to move the work around, and what's going to happen is it melts and flip it over and do it on the other side real quick. Just very quickly is all you need to do. But what happens, ladies, is it melts the acrylic, because after all, acrylic is plastic. And it makes it very, very thin. So if you are after and if you be careful, you can't even see that it is melted. But if you leave it on long enough, you're going to feel that harshness of the acrylic plastic melted. So, but what you want to do, see, it's very, as you can see, it's very flimsy, and it becomes soft, just like when you steamed it. This here, the steamed one only happens to be still, it becomes a little bit softer, but it is still thick. But if you want a thin blanket, like for in the summertime, you want it to be really thin. As you see, look how flimsy this is. Let's hold this one up. And look how stiff this is, but it has been steam blocked though. And if you want it to be a thin blanket, but yet it still keeps you warm, I have made my husband, I knitted him a blanket, and I steam blocked it this way with the iron directly on it. And he used it last winter, and it was really thin like this. It became like this, but I knitted it in a garter stitch. And he said it was very, very warm, but it was thin. You didn't have this big bulky blanket wrapped around you. So with that, ladies, I will let me go back to our stretched one. That's the one that we stretched. This is the one that we just directly steamed ironed. And let's go back to the stretched one there. And after it cooled down, and now it is 2 3/4. So we did stretch it, managed to stretch it a little bit, and it is blocked, so it's not going to go anywhere. So I hope you ladies enjoyed this tutorial. And see, look, I did not block the original. Let me go ahead and steam block the original. As you see how it's curled, curled up your work. So let me just press that down. I'm not going to put the iron directly on this, because these are just swatches, but I am going to make a blanket. And this is a good way, ladies, to use up all your little leftover scraps you don't know what to do with. You can make up a bunch of squares in your choice of crocheting, knitting, whatever. Just let that cool a little bit. It doesn't take long to cool. But see how soft it becomes? Well, I know you can't. So you can't feel how soft, but you can see the difference. See, this one here, I steamed it too, but I stretched it just a tad and steamed it a little bit more. The more you put steam into it, the softer and more pliable and thinner it's going to become. But it's not going to ever become like where you kill acrylic. I think that is the word that they use. for direct contact with the material. But see, this is the one that I steamed very lightly, didn't steam it much. This is the one that I just steamed, which I left the steam on it a little bit longer, which made it a more, as you see, a little bit more pliable. And then this one here is the killing acrylic, which I kind of like the killing acrylic, and because of the acrylic is plastic, it's going to have like just a little bit of a sheen to it. I don't know if the camera can pick up the sheen here, but if you like that look, then, you know, by all means go for it, but you don't have to. But these are, I just wanted to show you ladies how different blocking of your craft work looks. So this here is just a swatch that I just done, and I intentionally made it go at an angle on both sides. So I'm going to steam press it, and then I'm going to stretch it, and then I'm going to do the burned or the killing acrylic effect on it. So let's get started on that. And this here is just the Red Heart. I always use Red Heart Super Saver on all of my projects. I just like how the acrylic, unless I'm doing something that, you know, I need wool for, something like that, or a lacy look. But so let's go ahead and get started on this one. This one I'm going to hold it above and just steam it just a little bit, just to keep it flat. I hope you can hear me over the steam. Okay, move the steam aside. Wait a second for it to kind of cool down. Okay, so that is that. Now, and this piece, I should have measured it before I steamed it, but the widest part down here is 7 1/4, and the top portion is 6 1/2. So let's see if we can stretch out the top portion to the 7 1/4, so we can kind of get it into a straight line. Let me pin that down. Let's come over here, see if we can't stretch out this side over here a little more. Let me get this pin down into place. Don't have to worry about the bottom. Oops, this one doesn't look straight, because the bottom is the 7 1/4 is what you want it to be. Well, about 7 1/2. Let's see if we stretch this one to be 7 1/2, 7 1/2. So we managed to stretch it to where to be pretty much even. So let's go ahead and steam. I'm going to steam it first above, and then I will do the killing acrylic effect after I steam it to set it to this size. Okay, so let's let it cool just a few minutes. Still just a little bit warm. Let that cool a second. Okay, let's remove our pins. And as you see, it's pretty much a square here. Let me see, turn it this way if you can kind of see that it's pretty much stretched out now. Okay, now, and as you see, it's more softer and more, you know, pliable. But now we are going to do the killing acrylic effect on it. So let's lay it back. Let's move this out of the way. Let's see. I'm real, ladies. I show you. See the dirt that come out of my iron. It doesn't matter. I don't use this one. My daughter grabbed the wrong iron when she ironed her clothes. This is just my craft one. So I'm not worried about this one. So now let's do the killing acrylic effect. And you just want to iron it, you know, just briefly, because you will actually burn and melt the acrylic more, and you will have that harshness to it, and you don't want that. So let's flip it over, and let's do the other side. You just want to do it just briefly, just, you know, count like maybe 3 seconds and remove the iron. Okay, oops, I stretched it back out of shape now. Let's see, you need to pin it when you do this, because you are steaming it, so you are going to stretch it more out of shape. I'll have to re-stretch this back in. But this is what it looks like. As you can see that it is more flat than your actual one that we just steamed. So this is the difference in steaming and blocking your handmade, crocheted or knitted items. So I hope, ladies, that this was a clear tutorial, that you understand the difference between blocking. And I tend to like it depends upon what I'm making it for, but I tend to like the acrylic look to it. So, but each one is to their own. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please hit the like button, subscribe, rate, and comment, and leave any message that you want to see me do or anything of that nature. So please come back and visit me for my next tutorial. Thank you, ladies.